Well, I'm going live, people. That means I'm not dead. At least that's what they tell you. All right, we know what today is, or do we? Today is Christmas Day. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to be going into a lot of things today about Christmas, Jesus, God, the whole thing. If you're not ready to take a giant step in your growth, awareness, I guess you might not even want to try to listen. If you're ready to deal with some real truth, not a programmed idea, stick around. See how much you can endure the truth. Uh, I'm telling you, all this is coming from my direct experience from past lives and this lifetime. I'm 69. I had a lot of incredible experiences, 5 death experiences in this lifetime. I spent 45 years traveling out of my body, met with deities, angels. So I don't know how much the average person gets to do or experiences or understands. I was close to an alien. I was close to Bigfoot. You name it. I've been there. How important is that? Very little to what I'm going to try to get into to help you understand why today is the most important day of the year, what it really means, and eliminate all the stories around it. I want to start with I was just came on to my AOL, and it was a big article, and it was based on a couple doctors, and they said, "Is it right to tell your children about Santa Claus? Is it right to tell your children about Santa Claus?" I said, "Well, if that's all they have to debate, they probably need to shrink themselves." All right. Now, it's a matter of a lie compounded by many more lies. If you can understand that, I hope you can, because I'm going to just tell you what they are. We'll get into that. I'm going to get into all the lies, why people believe them, why people shouldn't believe them. But, for me, I've been dealing with so much stuff, stress and everything else, but I've listened to what's going on. I just got blocked on LinkedIn. Now, I'm going to say it here. I'm dealing with a person. His name is Richard Dolan. He claims a lot of things. He has no direct experience in anything. He says what his viewpoint is and writes lots of books and sells them. He's on Ancient Aliens. He's on a lot of shows, so he gets publicity, along with a lot of the UFO people that do that. Now, in this reality that I know, the most two promoted people in the spiritual world is Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle. Okay, so here's the thing. If you pull up what they talk about, we'll get into it if you want. They talk about living in the moment. All right, we all live in the moment. All right, we're not living in the past. We're not living in the future. We can think about it, but we can't live in that. So, people, this is going to be a real hardcore show. I'm going to save any questions, please, for the last part of the, because I'll never get through what I want to get through today. And it's Christmas. I want to do it today because it has to do with today, what it really means and what it should mean and what's happening. So when these doctors are talking about whether we should tell children about Santa Claus, okay, it makes them happy. Things that make you happy usually aren't beneficial. All right. Having an ice cream cake or something like that, it's going to make you happy. But is it actually beneficial for your body? I mean, obviously, the old saying, if it tastes good, it's probably no good for your body. All right, if it tastes horrible, it's probably good for your body. But the same with knowledge, with everything. We don't so-called horrible things to hear about them. I can go into that in detail. I experienced just about everything you'd want to or not want to, including 5 death experiences. On the other side of it, meaning during it, inside it, it was an incredible experience for me. Getting to it and getting out of it was not the incredible part, but getting into it and being inside it was incredible. Meaning living inside, being outside of your body, which is the most important thing you can learn in this reality. We'll go into that little by little. But I want to get back to when your parents tell you about Santa Claus. Why? Make you feel good for a couple years? But see, here's the thing. They don't just tell you about Santa Claus. They got to fill you up with a lot of other things. Those things are the Tooth Fairy. I just asked a friend of mine a little while ago, did you believe in the Tooth Fairy? He goes, not really. I said, really? He goes, well, I put money under the pillow and always got money. I said, guess what? You must have believed in it a little to expect to get money by putting a tooth under your pillow. All right. Conditioning, which is what happens to children, is not a good thing. Now, I saw the write-ins underneath it. One says, well, my children believe in Santa Claus and they're good kids. And, you always hear, my children are the best. They're the most beautiful. They're smartest. They're this, that. They're always the best. Nobody's coming out. My child's the worst child on the planet. You don't hear that ever. But when a child goes out and shoots somebody, oh, he never did anything bad except shoot somebody. So, when you hear people defending their children, I asked a bunch of people over the past week, if your child was involved with murder, do you defend them or not? She said, of course I won't. I said, you might not, but most families will. They'll do anything to protect their child, guilty or not guilty. Whether they're even going to ask their child or the person, are you guilty or not? They'll say, no, he's not guilty. All right. But now, this is all having to do with, let's stick with this topic first, and then I'll get into other ones about Santa Claus. Then we get the Tooth Fairy, right? Then you heard the story about the stork bringing children to the planet, to your mother and father. All right. Another ridiculous story. Then the Easter bunnies, another story. Then we got the story of the boogeyman. Oh, if you're not good, the boogeyman's going to get you. Already putting fear in a child's mind. So when parents do these things to children, they might think they're doing a good thing at some level. Whatever level that is, it can't be anything smart enough to be aware of what they're saying or doing. But when it happens, those things affect a child. Now, okay, you're telling them this is real, and that's real, and that's real. Now they're becoming, 7, 8, and they're starting to really think about it, trying to catch Santa Claus and all those kind of things. But then guess what? Now, oh, well, Santa Claus isn't really real. Oh, the Easter Bunny's not really real. Oh, I've been putting money under your pillow. I'm the Tooth Fairy. Little by little, they all get squashed. And then guess what? Oh, but God's real. How does a child believe that? What reason does a child have to believe that? Because their mother said so? Well, she told me for years that Santa Claus was real. But now she's telling me God's real. Why would they believe it? So there's already a false program in a child's mind. So when people say, oh, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, you did. You don't teach children lies. What do you think that turns into when they get old? Let's lie to my children? And the lie's been going down for how long? Do you even know what Christmas is about? Ask the average child. Yeah, I get gifts. It's the day everybody gives me gifts. I mean, is it about anything important? What the day is really about? All right. I'm going to get into that in great detail today. All right. If you stick around, you're going to deal with God, Jesus, and the truth. If not, like I said, you don't have to say. You might not want to. But it's not going to get, I'm not going to go into the fairy tale stories like everybody else is reading, believing, and accepting. All right. Ask yourself, do you believe God is real? Do you? How much of the programming that you received affected the way you think about God? Well, if you're Christian, well, I believe in Jesus and Jesus is God. All right. But the concept of what Jesus does, how it affects us. All right. Now, on top of this, which was just on AOL, a couple of days ago on regular TV, it was a story about the truth of Christmas. I said, what truth are they going to come out with? And they were trying to prove that Santa Claus is real. In a world that's so chaotic, going through serious problems, they're going to push this idea that Santa Claus is real. Well, how can they do that? Well, they started showing videos that were filmed by people. One like Santa Claus going across the roof and going down a chimney, a sled in the sky, things like that. Now, if you have a consciousness or a brain that work together and you can actually think, all right, how many houses does Santa Claus have to go down in one night? Well, I was joking with a friend. It's basically okay. Well, he starts in like Europe, France, England, different countries. Like England's like 11 hours later than us, so you start there and go backwards. All right, so you still got hours to keep doing it. But again, how many do you really think you could even go down if Santa Claus went down? But then they brought up stories about the elves and how they got inside and opened up the door for Santa Claus, and they went into it all, trying to, I don't know what you want to call it, reprogram, recondition a child's thinking to what? Believe in Santa Claus? Now on Shark Tank, which I watched, this couple came out with a box to send Santa Claus your mail. It's a trick box. You put your card in there, a letter, and it disappears. All right, and then they say it went off to Santa Claus. Another lie. And then they take those letters out and mail them if they want, or just throw them in the garbage, whatever they do. But again, do you really believe these cards go? Some people say, yeah, there's people that read them, and do they fulfill the cards? Do they fulfill every one of them? This is Christmas, people. People like to get gifts. Some people like to give gifts, which is a good thing. But how many days a year does it last? How many hours and how much money do you do and use to get to the point to give everybody gifts for a day? And why are you giving these people a gift again? What is Christmas? What's the real meaning behind Christmas? Well, I'm sure you know what Christmas is, really, what the date's supposed to mean. The date's probably not even close, but it's based on the idea that Jesus was born. Obviously, he was born, and how they pick a date and time and what generation and all the other things. But here's the thing. When Jesus was born, he became, and this is a viewpoint that I will put my life on the line, was the most spiritual person to walk this planet. Now, I am not saying he's God. He never said he was God, ever. There's one sentence in the Bible, and he says something which they molded into, he says he's God. I and my Father are one. But being one with something doesn't mean you become that. I mean, I could be one with my family, one with my father, one with my mother. Does that mean you're your mother? Does that mean you're your father? What does it really mean? In that time frame, they had limited words. They didn't use the same words we do. So when he said, in my Father's mansion, which people don't understand, heaven is their concept of their mansion. And when Jesus said, in my Father's mansion, there's many rooms. And I'm telling you, how many people understand that at any level? What did God mean? What was Jesus talking about? All right. Was he talking about the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, the dining room? All right. It's called realms of existence, where soul goes when it dies. Now, we're supposed to attain an awareness in this lifetime. And that awareness is supposed to help us become more of who and what we really are, meaning soul. So now when we watch TV shows, like I just mentioned, what are you thinking? Are you letting that pull you into the underworld where Santa Claus is real? Could be real. Maybe really is real. Did you ever get his outside of your mother? All right. But no, here's the thing. Children are open to spirit. They can see angels, they can see demons, they can see everything. But without protection, not the protection that's quoted and said over and over in the Bible, but protection against negative energy, demons, and all those kind of things as well. All right, I've been always protected from aliens, including aliens. But the average person I do a show with, she's been abducted half of her life, on and off. So, was she protected? She says it. Well, the government can't protect me, and they're not. Science is not helping her. She's radioactive in a lot of parts of her body, having problems. Nobody's helping her with that. Nobody's saying a word about it. You'd think if somebody was radioactive, the government would be all over that. Now, I'm going to mix it just for a short time. John Ford's in a nut house in Long Island, and they framed him in '96, saying he had uranium, a barrel of uranium, not a tube of uranium, but a barrel of uranium, and he was going to lay his toothpaste in Congress and kill them all. Delusional idea, really stupid, but he's in jail. Well, he's in a nut house right now, waiting to go to trial. They want to put him in jail, but I'm sure if he goes to trial, they'll never be able to prove he had a barrel of uranium. They'll never be able to prove that he was going to kill people in Congress because there's no clue or connection at any level there. And they're going to find out that he believes in aliens. And he shot the best video ever shot on this planet that I know of, especially inside the United States, of a ship crashed on Long Island. I went out there. I went to where the ship crashed. When the ship came in, it notched out about a little more over a quarter of a mile of trees when it came running down the ground. All right. It was real, people. But here, I'm going to keep going back and forth because in my reality, everything's connected. It's like a puzzle. You put pieces all together here, and, well, you can see a face or something, but you still got the frame. You still got to put where they are, and it all is the same puzzle. And I just watched The Matrix 2 nights ago. It is probably the best movie I ever saw. See it now. Watch it again. There's so much going on, which there always is. All right. But here's the thing. It's going into a reality that we're in. This altered reality that we're saying we're going into fifth dimension and all those other things. But we're in it at many levels. And what it does, I'm not going to spoil the movie because it's just so great. You need to watch it. Keanu Reeves is probably one of my favorite actors. From all the things Point Blank or whatever it was probably one of the best movies recognized, rated, that he did and stuff. But he did a movie with Lucifer, Satan, really, and his father. Al Pacino was the devil. Great movie. But you have to follow what they're teaching you, training you, showing you, and trying to make you believe. They do a lot of different things when they make a movie. When the 6-part series of UFOs came out, Steven Spielberg took every piece of information he could to make a movie out of it. All right. So now, here, getting back to this reality, this planet, on Easter. You know, Easter and Christmas go together. But here's the thing. 2 of the days where suicide's one of the highest. All right. And it's depression, void of family, friends, things like that. But it's all this energy, supposedly positive energy, and you're feeling sad. It doesn't vibrate right inside you. How could it? So, all right, I came from many places. I had 5 death experiences. One was suicide. All right. I'm not afraid to talk about it. Or you're evil, you're going to go to hell. I'm saying, no, I'm living in hell. All right. Jesus was teaching how to get out of it, not not to go back in it. He was teaching how to get out of it. All right, which we're going to talk about. But just so you know, things that are happening now don't relate to anything normal. If you go, there's a couple books online, a couple people that were involved with missing people. In the state parks in the United States, there's thousands and thousands of people that go missing. You know, a brand new car is right there, a tent set up, and nobody's there. Did they all fall off a cliff? Did they all disappear? Where'd they go? And some of them, it's a family, and they turn around and their son's gone. Where did he go? No cliffs. He didn't fall off a cliff or nothing like that. So, you know, they're not even dealing with the idea of abduction. All right. Does that have anything to do with Jesus or God? Well, when you live in hell, you're under the laws of where you dwell. And that's a fact. You could say whatever you want, tell people whatever you want. Like for me, when I deal with Richard Dolan, he claims so many things about the UFO world, what he thinks, what he believes, what's going to happen. Carrie Cassidy, who I did a show on her show for 9 months, she believes a lot of the people that come on. But with all that being said, the only proof of a UFO that's released publicly and the government admits to is a tic tac, a little dot going around this way and that way in space, when all the dealings they have with are covered up. So now let's go back to when Jesus was born. All right. I might come back to the Matrix, but I want to get a little bit deeper because time goes so fast when you get stuck on a topic. Hold on, let me just see what this question was. I missed it. All right, I'm bad with names. I was on, I guess it's the farthest you can go. I mean, it's not close to Montauk, but because I worked for a pool company and I used to work all through Montauk as well. West something, it's the oceanfront, the bay. I would live right on the bay, went right into the ocean. Don't ask me. It's close to the. If you're looking at Long Island, I can only do it this way, and you look to the left side, the furthest out you can go before you hit Long Island. I mean Montauk. I'm just so bad with names. I have dyslexia, especially when it comes to names. But it was beautiful, extremely cold. But right there, if you pull up information, they closed the area down for 3 weeks and let it burn. All right. Now, Long Island's flatland. It's not like it's a giant jungle and woods and things like that. It's a flatland. And right where it was burning, they have boats, tugboats that have that are able to squirt water and all those things. They could have put it out if there was a real fire going on, which there wasn't. All right. During that time frame, black trailers went in and out of the site. Something you should know, which this is a fact. When there is an idea that a UFO crashed, the police and the fire department cannot go inside that area. They have to block it off, and they can't let anybody else go inside that area. When FEMA comes out, then they take over. But that's in the police law book, in the fire department law book. And whether you want to believe that or not, it's true. So why did they close this area off for 3 weeks? Why were these trucks going in and out? They were removing the debris. John Ford is in Long Island Nut House. He's the one that shot the video. I saw it. He shipped it away to 4 countries. And he says if he dies, he wants that video released. But he did that in 96. If he would have just released them, he would have never went to jail. Or I mean, he would never started off in the nut house. Because they wouldn't be able to say anything, because he released it already. All they can do is say, well, that's fake, which they say about almost everything. The same week, Sergeant L18, the one I did all my UFO work with, we did a show called Strange Universe. The week after we did that show, it was taken off the air. We showed a video of a UFO stopping and shooting out ships and then taking off and going in space. We entities than anybody else in the United States. All right. Don't ask me where he is now. We kind of had another separation. We split up, fight, come back together. But I think it's kind of over completely right now. Don't ask me why, how it happened. Simple view. He came into money, a lot of money. He always said if the government ever paid him good money, he would pull away. But and they could have paid him off, or they could have just gave him money, whatever. He's not mainstream. He said he was going to go mainstream, which he didn't do. He was in dormant state for 9 years, and then I got him to do the show with me for Kerry Cassidy for 9 months. We showed UFOs every day. I don't want to get into that story because it's so far separate from what today is. All right. But I'll get back to that at another time. All right. Now, the challenge is here. There's 2 major religions on the planet, meaning major because they have the highest percentage of population, Christianity and Muslims. One's 2.5 billion and one's 2.1 billion. The Muslims are 2.1, and they're growing. So to keep the real exact numbers, who knows? But they're the highest. They're the biggest percentage of the planet. There's 2,000 religions, and each one of them gets less and less numbers of people that follow it. Now, I'll tell you this. There's 2 religions, 2 paths that actually teach you something important, which no other path does. I mean, the first when it first came out, it was called Shab Yoga. And at the same time, the whirling dervishes were important because what they did, they went into this dance in a circle and they left their bodies. Which, again, I said in the beginning, it's the most important thing you can learn in this reality. Because once you do that, you understand you're not this body. You're not this mind. You're not this programmed idea of what it believes and all the other things. All right. It's hard without any experience in anything. A belief in something that you never experienced is even hard to get into a space where you can. Well, you believe in the tooth fairy for how many years? You believe in Santa Claus for how many years? You can't believe in this, can't believe in that. Well, you can, and the mind does. But the biggest programming situation came out of the Bible. It is the most sold and printed book on the planet, still to this day. All right, now, who wrote it? Lots of people. Who is the writer? It doesn't say who wrote the gospel. When it says Mary Magdalene's gospel, who wrote it? Who wrote Thomas's manuscript? Who wrote Judas's manuscripts? Who did? Now, I'm going to tell you facts, and I'm not going to tell you right away why. Only 2 of Jesus' disciples could even write. They were farmers and fishermen. The vocabulary in those days was limited to what they had. So God trying to communicate with this reality, how does it do it? Well, Jesus was here to do that, to teach us about God, not to teach us about protection and forgiveness and all those words. You're in hell. And how can I say that? Well, I experienced many things, death 5 times, Satan, angels, deities. When you stand before them or you get close to them, whatever you believe and think is kind of just wiped out. Because now you're seeing the greater picture of what you're thinking, not just this little tidbit of something. You're seeing this giant picture of what's going on. Reality, truth. So when we talk about Jesus being born 2,000 years ago, roughly, just an idea, what happened, why, and all that. Now, I got into this twice already, and I'm going to go into it. This is going to be the 3rd time. Jesus was born Jewish in a Jewish family. One, his mother wasn't, but his father was. In those days, it only meant men had the power of everything. Women had no power, which is a sick thing, but it existed till the present time. People, women were slaves. They were victims of abuse. So to think they had good lives ever, they didn't. If you become aware of your lifetimes ever, go to the last time you were a female. You don't stay male because soul is not male or female, which isn't talked about much. All right, Christianity kind of makes you believe when you go to heaven, you're going to be a man or a woman, whatever you are, talking to your family, sitting at a table and eating dinner or whatever. But it doesn't go down like that. They don't talk about something really critical to the soul body, how the astral body connects to the physical body, called the silver cord. All right. Each of these things take this, what we're talking about, to a higher level than most people could even get close enough to understand. Why would I create this story and make this all up? Money? I don't charge much money for anything. I don't charge money for doing healer work. I've been giving my books away, my first 2 books for free. I'm still trying to get time to do it with my newest book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. And it's probably the most important book I ever wrote. And if you read it, you might learn the most important idea and thought and reason to be on this planet. There's only one. And it's not about saving mankind. No person can or will or needs to. Now, when we look at life and we look at the word karma, which is a critical word, all right? When we talk about karma, it's cause and effect. What you create, you reap. When it was said in the Bible, you reap what you give. All right? So if you're beating people up, guess what's going to come back to you? You're stealing, what's going to come back to you? It's what you do comes back to you. And forgiveness isn't what erases that, because it doesn't get erased. Karma stays with you until it's paid in full. All right? How do you pay in full? That's the question. People don't know how to pay off karma. They accept the idea when somebody tells them they did. You go to a psychic, go to a spiritual healer, whatever words you like. Oh, we healed you. Oh, I'm okay now. Now I don't have to worry. You're okay now. You're healed. All right. You believe that. That belief is really important. What determines how much you have to suffer in anything you're going through. Good, bad, or indifferent. Because you can choose to stay in the good things always. But knowing what's good and bad, well, then we got the whole idea that there's no such thing as good and bad. Really? I didn't know that. I don't believe that. Because it's a lie. The same as there's hot and cold, there's good and bad. If you learn to leave your body, the second you're out of your body, you will realize that. The mind's sitting there, oh, do I believe it? Do I believe it? Should I believe it? Do I want to believe it? No, you shouldn't. 90% of the things you hear, see, are lies. Getting back to the Matrix. When you're in the Matrix, what's really real and what's not? What's important to you and what's not? Well, what's important to you is based on the programming that you had. I had a lot of serious things go on for me when I was young. So yeah, I had to face that sentence again, which I'm not going to do anymore. Because you can rise above everything. Get free of the karma, free of the wheel of 86. I mean, that's what people call it. I mean, it's a lot of different things. But dealing with something beyond karma. the word cause and effect, going beyond that to the truth. Why are you here? Why did Jesus come here? Why is he killed in his time frame? For what reason? Why would people kill a spiritual person? Why would people kill? Think about it. Think it. Find out and tell yourself, where's the problem in that picture? Well, there is a big problem in it. Something's wrong. All right. When we go back to the idea, okay, let's go back to the Matrix just for a second. I don't want to spoil the movie because to me it was probably the best movie I saw in a very long time. But going through different energies, time, and stuff, we're doing that. We're playing with that. And it's not a beneficial thing. It's not going to help mankind become more spiritual. Sorry, my back is hurting me so bad. Well, let's look at one other thing. The UFO world has their belief system. More people are being pulled into it every day. All right. Religions, people are still being pulled into them every day. Truth, who is out there telling you the truth about what? If you could answer one question, have it answered, and get the actual truth behind that question, what do you think you would answer? Think about it. What would you ask? What would you want to know? What do you think that would be beneficial to you? All right. We have to move to the point where Jesus was born and he's young and he's working with his father. He's a carpenter, but he's a Hasidic Jew. They were the highest you can go in a Jewish set. All right. But they have their rituals like Muhammad does. Programs they have to deal with. They don't have to be good. No, they don't. All right. Uh, but when you go through what we call feelings, emotions, and the five senses, we take the program that's in our computer, meaning our brain, and make it reality. So they didn't have words like that when Jesus was born, did they? They didn't have. They didn't use the word robot. Well, they weren't using robots because they were actually human robots. Slaves. Slaves to the rich people. Rich alien races. Whatever you want to accept or believe in. Again, there's just a lot more to work with to prove your own truth, to find out what's right and wrong. I try to say there's good and better, knowing that you could always step into something better than what you're in. All right? Because we stay in this place where I was for a long time, and I don't feel like I'm moving anywhere. I said, I don't want to die with that space there, not knowing what I could do or what I'd left undone or any of those things. You got to have your balance worked out at least when you leave so that you don't have to come back or reincarnate. Second of all, you don't need to. Playing the game over and over, what does it do? Well, if you're winning every time, it makes you happy. And that's really important. But that's not where it should be. The Matrix, people, is where we are, challenged by everything we do, what we allow into our lives. This virus is not going to go away easily. Why it was created wasn't for a simple reason. Yes, there's a few centers in the United States making vaccines without a cure for them. Isn't that lovely? Why would they do that? We have so many things going on that you're not aware of. And does it matter? Well, one day a year, to me, the most spiritual day of the year, when the greatest person to walk this planet was born, being able to celebrate it is cool. But how? Talking about Santa Claus? Does that relate to Jesus in any way? Jesus didn't go around with a backpack and giving gifts to everybody. He gave them spiritual gifts or inner gifts that made them see, walk, live. So when I mentioned I saw Bigfoot, totally different time frame. So it was a different reality. When you see a UFO, are you actually in the same time frame? How fast are they really moving? Because when they're moving at the speed of light and you see them, what speed are you moving at to see it? There's so many little things that happen without the actual awareness of why it's happening. So Jesus was young when he decided to leave his family. Why would he do that? Think about it. Why would anybody leave their family? Because they outgrew it. The same as when Jesus said to his disciples, leave your families, leave your friends, leave your children. Oh, I can't do that. Why not? It's the truth. And you have to do that to be able to send something. So when I'm talking in this reality, when we have thoughts and we try to send them out and get back, and who are we talking to? Are we talking to God? Are we talking to Jesus? Are we talking? Most people will accept the fact that they're talking to Jesus or angels. Well, in the Bible, there's 9 angels mentioned, and usually you only hear 3 names. What happened to all the other ones? Why aren't they as famous? I mean, they all sound similar. I have to keep them written down because I never remember them either. But there's one name out of place because they all kind of rhyme, and then this one name doesn't. Why is that? But you need to do a little research in life. Like, when was love created? Why? What do you think love is about, really? Why isn't it working? Why is it really useless? And why isn't it helping a particular person move forward or grow or something? Well, it's true. All right, this is all true that I'm going to be feeding you because I'm hand feeding it. Because if I give it to you all real fast, you still won't accept it. If I give it to you slow, there's chances you might accept pieces of it. If you have a few pieces of the puzzle, there's a better chance that you'll be able to put a puzzle together one day and be able to see the whole picture. Jesus was walking by himself with Satan. Now, in the New Testament, it's rewritten a couple times. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. 2 of them plagiarized it. But again, what's happening? What's going on? Are we going back to that state? And I would ask, do you want to? Because when we're in a certain state and we're dealing with reality, is it your mind or is it soul? And that's one thing, no matter what you do, outside of leaving your body, that's the most important thing you can do, is look at yourself and say, who am I? What am I? Then the other thing you can ask yourself, where are you going? All right, because knowing where you go when you die is like critical. When you're dying and you're unaware, leaves you open for many different kind of places to reincarnate back into, which is what you don't want to do. No, not at all.
Hey, Tommy.
All right, I'm in Hawaii. It's been raining and raining and raining. We're in the winter, and we're having the coldest days ever. We had a 4.2 earthquake yesterday, but it's rain all night. We get chemtrails all the time, and lots going on here. The UFO world's going crazy. They shut the telescope down so people can't look through it. What's that have to do with anything? Well, you're living in the moment. You're not living in the future. You're not living in the past. What Trump's preparing, what Trump does, what all these other people are preparing, what do you think is going to happen with this virus? Can they take the next step, go backwards, and reinstate all the laws and things? But for me, once you find God, all right, life changes. You don't have to think about dying. Well, not to the point going to do or things like that. But you're going to die. Right now, the maximum time frame an average person has is 125 years. So when you hear in these Bible days, and everybody lived 400 years, and they didn't have leap year, and they didn't have a lot of different things. But again, how much time did they really have? It doesn't matter, because we're moving forward to a point where you either accept God or you don't. But sadly, the people that are accepting Him aren't truly accepting it. Because a Christian believes in an image of themselves as God, created in our image. No, it's not. All right. We have to keep going, because every step you take, you have to open these doors or you're not going to get past it. Christmas comes and goes once a year. What happens? Nothing. Does it change reality? Does it change anything important? Does it tell you how to make free energy and stuff like that? No. So when we go into deeper aspects of the Bible, when Jesus was teaching, the most important part of why Jesus came here, what was he teaching? Think about that one. Jesus chose to do what he did. This chair is going back. Sorry. He didn't have to do it. He never had to. He chose to do what he did. When people say, "Well, I'm a healer. I'm going to change the world," to do what? Sam Harriman says he has the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant. He said the U.S. government has one. He needed a couple $1 million to link his with the one the government has to create a new energy. Does he have the right to do that? Does somebody have the right to brainwash you about Santa Claus? All these things, the answer is no. They don't have that right. But they do it. It's involved with how much money they can make. We can move forward in another way. Doing this exercise, working on getting a spiritual level within inside my reality. Closing your eyes, chanting a sound, creating an image, and then going through it. But that's one thing you need a commitment to. I mean, I say 30 days. People can prove much longer, because the programming you get when you're a child by your parents, then your teacher, and then your friends. Probably get no teachings from your friends, anything important. Your teachers, what do they know? They're teaching book knowledge, which is useless in a spiritual reality or a spiritual realm. So hopefully you are moving point to place where there has to be truth here. There has to be something more advanced than where you're really going right now. All right? Beyond common sense. All right. Jesus was old enough to leave his family, and he disappeared. He disappeared for a while. What happened to him? And I'm telling you, this is a fact. You don't believe it or not. One religion says he met this spiritual master and learned. No. But what he did go through, is the only real definition of ascension. You can't make a fake scenario or a definition of this word and it even being closely to right. Because, we live in a world where you get sick and you get heart problems, liver problems, kidney problems. Your brain starts breaking down. But think about what's happening, what we created, dementia and Parkinson's. They're not natural. They weren't natural. They were created. You have to open up your eyes a little bit more. And if you do have to pick up saying is even closely to the truth, I'm not going to lie. I was going to become a preacher when I was 19. I went to church 6 days a week, 4 hours a night. I had my time in. You had to put time in to become a preacher. The only thing that changed my viewpoint when I went to the preacher and I was going to become a preacher and I was going to go to school for 4 months, they said, you got to sign this paper. And I said, what's it say? It says 40% of your salary. Now it's back down to money. Not about spirit, not about God, not about anything. It's about money. All religions that have a church and they pass the pot around or a bowl, plate, whatever they use to grow money in, it's already a programmed idea. Why do you need sex? Why do you need money? Why do you need anything, things if you're in your astral body? You don't. But that's all mankind focuses on. Not God. Not Jesus. Not what Jesus was trying to teach. When he spoke in different tones, which I do. My partner's here, so I can't yell. I mean, I like to yell because, like me, you get in his face and you're so mellow and you can't fall asleep real easy. And it's like, wake up! And you scream it real loud. And your adrenaline's moving around and you feel good. So we have to worry about the physical body and our spiritual body, meaning our soul body. And then we have to look for truth. It's not easy. A spiritual path is the hardest path you can walk on this planet. While we have all these New Age speakers, spiritualists, all saying they're spiritual, they're six-dimensional beings, they're this, that, and the other thing. And it's all lies. Again, lies after lies after lies. All right. When a child's abused, which a lot of them are, some sexually, some just mental, some just the idea that the mother doesn't know how to raise a child or work with a child. When we go into a church, or if you ever did, how you have to act inside a church. When you go into a bar, how do you act? I mean, you're conditioned to be this person when you're around these kind of people. Why? You have to fit into their reality? This is the world that you're in, learning how to get out of it. You don't need to fit in with anybody else. I hate to say this, people. If you're listening to me, you're probably going to just say, so what? I don't care. Which isn't a good thing, obviously. But the truth seems to get more complicated every little bit that you learn. Why was Jesus killed? Why did people kill all his disciples? Well, a few escaped. Thomas and Mary Magdalene. Which I'm going to get into real fast. Mary Magdalene, the mother of Jesus' daughter. She was the most, in my phrase, my viewpoint, my words, the most spiritual woman on the planet. Why would I even say that? Because it's the truth. I don't like to talk about anything other than the truth. Well, She had to teach the disciples after they killed Jesus, right? He had the knowledge, but he didn't have time to teach it. Now, if it was Superman, or if it was God, why do you think he wouldn't allow that to happen? All the little things you can ask yourself, why wouldn't he? Why didn't he? Why this? Because he was never God, never claimed to be God. And he has a staff. I mean, when you see images, he has a staff and he's walking with sheep. They show you these different things, trying to make him look like the most loving person in this white robe. You know, there's an alien called a Nordic, and they wear a white robe, long blonde hair, blue eyes. Jesus didn't have blue eyes. Jesus did have incredible eyes. All right. I was hoping. Sorry, no, not happening. So we have 3 phases: opening your eyes, becoming aware, working and searching for that truth, and then attaining it. How many people are attaining where they want to be? Do they even know where they want to be? All right. The top years of my life was limited to a few, very few days. So you mean you're going to go through 60, 70, 80, 100 years? How many days are going to be the most incredible days of your life? Every one of them? When you're 100 being alive, at that point, they'll say that's an incredible thing. It's not incredible. Growing old is not incredible. Going senile is not incredible. Going deaf, going blind, it's not incredible. It's not good. So where are we going to take our next step? Is first grounding ourselves to this planet, knowing that you're in hell. If you can understand that, then you could realize you'd want to get out. You would know you want to get out, and you would do everything you possibly could to get out, which is where you need to be. If you accept that this is heaven and it's getting better, look around. Look at what's happening. Nobody in government is going to talk about what's really going on in the UFO world. All these people coming out. Well, I saw it. None of them have a video. None of them have an alien friend. None of them have anything that might really link to what they're saying and prove it's real. So Jill and I, we went out from 1996 to 2002, just about every other night, probably 5 days a week. All right, we'd leave his house, and he was about a half hour, 20 minutes from Wanacue, which is where Tesla did his work with DuPont. And it's a whole story, which I'm not going to get into in detail. But ships went in and out of the reservoir after they flooded a city. Think about all that. Why? You know, when you ask the question why, everything goes blank. Nobody knows. Your best friend could be talking to you and you could be talking about God and say, well, I know where God lives. No, nobody knows where God lives. Well, I know. You know what? Nobody knows. Everybody will say nobody knows. Because they don't know. So people, men, always protect themselves in some way. Making themselves better than women. Making women second rate to them. Saying they're one with God, impossible. They don't know God. Please give me 1 second. I got Mr. School out. You want to go, please? Sorry about that. Get up. Don't do that.
Gizmo trying to escape.
We have to look at all these little things. Now, do you believe in God? Do you really? He sits on a throne, he looks like us. No, not at all. He thinks like we do. Why would we say that? Well, Jesus said this and that. Well, why wouldn't God say that? If it was, why was there no other God after Jesus? The same as there was no deities after the certain deities suddenly disappeared. Shiva, Durga, Kali, the big, most famous ones for me, the ones I worked with. I worked with angels. I met Satan. I did all those things. But, well, are you delusional? Did you dream? Did you do drugs? Doctors cannot admit in obsessions of being abducted or possessed. They can't admit to it. If they did, the government would have to expose everything it doesn't want to. Abductions? Meaning aliens can abduct people? And we can't do a thing about it? Just what it says. All right. Hold on. So, where are we, people? Where are you going? What do you want to attain? What do you think you're going to get? Listening to these people. What are you getting out of me? I'm going slowly through the facts. Facts are Jesus was spiritual. There is nobody on this planet today, right now, that could say they're a very spiritual being. Oh, the Deepak, and they could totally, they're the most spiritual. No, they're not. They're people. They talk about nothing. Conversation with a God, another person I debate. I love to talk to people that have no truth and they are afraid to defend themselves. I'm not afraid. I'll defend myself from anybody on this planet. Demons, entities, you name it. Whatever you want to come, however you want to come, human, alien, whatever. I'll defend myself with truth and the protection that comes with that. Going into the inner worlds, protection. What's that mean? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I do. And why don't you? When a pope claims that hell doesn't exist, which was a real ridiculous statement, we're living in hell. It exists. Then he said the Ten Commandments, well, he wants to write 2 of them over. Then he said, okay, Adam and Eve was a fake story. The present pope, not any other one, but the present pope. And what he's doing now, let me see if I can get the word, Christlum, meaning Christ, meaning Christians and Muslims. They're building a temple next year, and it's going to be a Christian Muslim temple. Now, do you believe 2 different paths can come together? Muslims, basically, teachings came from supposedly Gabriel. Here's something, people, if you read the Bible, angels weren't teachers. They didn't come down and start workshops. Jesus was the only real teacher about spiritual truth. Buddha taught something totally different. He was talking about consciousness. All right. Being in a state of this mind thing. And the mind is a program. The mind is limited. The mind doesn't experience being out of the body because it is the body. Soul stepped out of the body. Soul's experiencing that, not the mind. But it's almost impossible to get the true experience into the mind because it's not really experiencing it. Try to get somebody to understand that. They won't. Because when you leave your body, when you learn how to do it, here's you, and you go like this, and you're looking at your body. But you're not solid. I can't kill you, can't shoot you, can't burn you up, can't freeze you. And you can do just about anything when you're an aware soul. But see, until you become to that state, you need somebody to teach you. Then you can get your teachers. Angels will take you where you need to go, or spiritual guides, whatever word you like. There, not here. You don't need to learn how to travel planet Earth. Not to become spiritual. You can stay in one square box in one area and become spiritual. And when you do, you just let go of the body. Now, mistaking for that kind of truth is the rainbow body that somebody like David Wilcock and Danny Brinkley did a workshop on not too long ago. I wrote him 4 letters. I said, look, do you want the truth? I live with a llama. Do you know what the rainbow body is? Do you have a clue? And believe it or not, it's the closest thing you can attain to spiritual awareness at the highest level on this planet, even though they don't believe in God. I'm not going to get into it because it's hard for me to deal with that because I don't believe in God. I know big difference. I met God. And I'll tell you this, every soul, when it becomes an aware being, will stand before God 3 times. It sounds like everything, well, it's just 3 times and 2 times. It's like that. Numbers play a big role. 369, 69, all the most important numbers that exist. Not 2, not 1. The mark of the devil and all those kind of things. What those symbols mean. Why? Well, when you say the Trinity, that's 3. 369, 3. But it breaks down to a lot more than that. Well, Christianity says the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's God, Spirit, and soul. All right? You are soul. All right? Spirit is your connection. You know, I got a serious problem arising. I'm going to have to end the show. Seriously, my partner's been sick and she's going seriously. I hate to do it this way. It's 1 hour. And I will continue this hopefully tomorrow if I can, maybe tonight. But don't forget, this is recorded, so you can always tune into it if you can't get on the right time. All right? So sorry, but Sasha, you're there. I will answer questions. You can call me back in a little while if I have to go do something before she freaks out. I'll continue where
Yes.
I'm at, people.
Yeah.
And an hour is a long time to retain anything. So with that, I'm going to say I'm so sorry. Till next time, hopefully tonight or tomorrow. And I'll get us going back on this path. This is the truth, people. This is about living in the future. No. Living in the past. No. Living in what you are as soul. Soul exists beyond time. With that, till next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Sorry, I gotta go, but I will continue this.
All right, Tom, you take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.